Okay, welcome back, everybody. And Candice, we have an exciting episode planned for today.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
But we're going to start with our own version of this before we jump into what we're going to do.
Okay.
So what is an unpopular opinion? Let me try that again. What is an unpopular opinion that you have about the Disney parks?
There are too many children.
I was going the same direction. I was going to say there needs to be more adults only spaces around Disney parks in general.
I would agree.
Okay, folks, buckle up for this one. This one's going to be fun. We'll tell you more about it after the open.
Hey, welcome to Hanging at the Hangar Bar. I'm Scott.
And I'm Candice. We're here to chat all things Disney as child-free Disney adults. Stories, snacks, and a little magic along the way.
Grab a drink and get comfy and come hang out with us.
Okay, today, Candice, what we're going to do is I was browsing Reddit as a good Disney adult, and I came across the subreddit Disney Parks. And the topic of the day is unpopular Disney parks opinion.
Okay.
The person that posted it said, I think mine might upset some people with the laugh, like the crying laugh emoji.
Okay.
So what we're going to do today is something we've not done before in our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to read through some of these unpopular opinions. We'll go through the original posters first. And then I sorted by controversial.
Oh, okay.
In the thread, so we can pick out the ones that are the most controversial, and we'll live react to these as part of our episode. So, friends, we open the show this week. You're going to be listening to this on Monday. We open the show on Thursday of this week. So after this, we should be able to get into a little bit better cadence about recording and getting released. Hopefully we'll be able to get ahead a little bit too. We got some things planned for late summer, early fall that I think will be good. So thank you for sticking with us through some different types of episodes that we have that are just kind of us wanting to get some content out there for you all because we love you. Okay, so here's the original posters. Do I need to go through the username? Do I need to say just so we don't get in trouble if they find it?
It's always good to shout them out.
Okay, so the person that posted this, their username on Reddit is no breadfruit 377.
Okay.
3777.
Okay.
So, here's exactly what they wrote. I want to know some unpopular Disney park opinions. Mine might ruffle some feathers, but it's really how I feel, so here it goes. Paint the Night, my ad, the new nighttime parade, is not that good. I think the ideas of the floats themselves and the characters featured are cool, but I hate the soundtrack of the parade. The soundtrack of a parade is so important and it does so much for the parade atmosphere, and I really dislike the pop electronic techno music they chose for the parade. I also don't think the LED lighting suits a Disneyland parade. I much prefer the more classic lighting from parades like Spectro Magic and MSEP.
Main Street Electrical Parade.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I think the twinkly fairy lights look is more soft and magical, while the LED can be so harsh and in your face. That's just my opinion, though. I know a ton of people love Paint the Night.
Okay.
So, first, do we think that's an unpopular opinion?
Probably not. Knowing how Disney adults get attached to things and hating to see change for the sake of change, if they are expecting something like the Main Street Electrical Parade version 2.0 out of this, I think that opinion tracks.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be that.
Right.
That's just like Enchantment versus Happily Ever After.
Right.
It's not the same. It's not meant to be the same. You have to consider going back to our thoughts of Disney as a business.
Right.
LED power is cheaper than fairy light twinkles.
Right.
It's also more intense lighting, so they need fewer light spots.
Right.
To get the job done.
It's easier to see.
And plus, it's called Paint the Night, so you want bright and fresh and beautiful.
Right.
I haven't seen it, so I'm talking from someplace where I should not be talking from.
Pulling this one straight from the ass.
Yep. But these are my thoughts when I'm working through this and thinking about it as I know the history of Disney fans to be.
Right.
And what we've seen in the past with some of the other things that they've tried to quote unquote reimagine or spawn after something's gone away.
Right. And the comment that they made about disliking the pop electronic techno music that they chose for the parade and then saying they liked the parade Spectro Magic or Main Street Electrical Parade.
Yeah.
Isn't that exactly that kind of music?
The Spectro Magic was a little bit different. It was more of the like fairy tale sounding kind of music.
Okay.
But Main Street Electrical Parade was very much techno pop.
Right.
Not like today's techno pop. It was more retro techno pop.
So maybe they went a little bit... I haven't heard the soundtrack at all, so maybe they went a little bit too boots and pants.
Possibly. And I would agree with that that's probably not the best. But again, I haven't seen it. Yeah. I might feel differently when I'm sitting there with a box of Disney popcorn on Main Street watching it and possibly crying through it. I just don't know.
Yeah, 100%. And I don't know that like, because I haven't seen it, I've not heard a lot of flack about that parade, so I'm guessing that is an unpopular opinion, just because you don't hear a lot of people complain about it.
Right.
Yeah, okay. So let's jump into some of these that may be a little bit more controversial.
Okay.
From Reddit user Tresset. I personally think Muppets is outdated, has no connection to the newer generation, and hate the new Rock and Roller Coaster retheme as a result.
Go away.
Again, it's unpopular opinion time.
Well, that is an unpopular opinion because I hear more support, and this is what makes me sad. So now that we are officially saying goodbye to Muppets Courtyard in Hollywood Studios and that area of the park to make way for Monsters, which I think it's also interesting that they're closing the Monsters Inc. ride in California.
Right.
Anyway, that's not what we're talking about. I think it's a little bit funny that people have not gone to Muppets 3D for years and years and years and years. And yet when Disney says we're going to make a change, we're going to close this down, reimagine, retheme, whatever they want to call it, all of a sudden there's all this butthurt outrage about you can't take the Muppets away, we love them, they're the best ever. All these people going to Hollywood Studios to get pictures of Muppets Courtyard and saying goodbye and na. I'm like, where was this support when you could have saved it potentially?
Right.
And to that user's point, no disrespect to any of the users that we comment on their opinions here. None at all. Your opinion is your opinion.
And you got it right. That's, in our view, that's an unpopular opinion.
100%.
Yeah. One of the comments that follows that, I think, is I kind of agree with. Like, any hate for the Muppets right now is 100% Disney's fault.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to use them.
Yeah. We have a fantastic idea for using them.
We do.
But that's for a different day.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that in an episode in the future.
Maybe we can just do a how to use the Muppets better episode.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah.
Audience, help us remember that we said we wanted to do that, because we'll forget. But yeah, the Muppets should be used in new and inventive ways to bring them more current. Because I think the person that posted that is right. It really doesn't have a connection to newer generation. Even though a couple years ago I did that episode with Miley, who had completely didn't know anything about original Muppets and thought Muppets started in 1999.
Right, and that was the quote-unquote old Muppet movie.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. But it makes me sad because I'm like, well, aren't kids watching Sesame Street anymore?
Yeah, I don't... And that... Maybe they'll start again now that it's moving to Netflix.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's so strange to me. And, getting rid of the great moments of American history, but only the American parts, or the great moments in history, but only the American parts.
Such tragedy.
That to me was the Disney using those characters properly, and then taking it away and doing something that is just generic. It's just now another pathway to walk through.
Yep. You can go see Cynthia, though.
Yes. Okay, we ready to move on to the next one?
Yes.
Again, this one will be a true unpopular opinion. The Tiki Room under new management is better than the original Tiki Room. Tiki Room under new management was a fresh take on an old ride. I really appreciated Iago and Zazu were hilarious, and the animatronics looked great. The queue was also better with them behind the waterfall. That was posted by user Easyfields.
Okay, unpopular would be correct.
What do you take issue with?
It was not better.
What made it worse?
The IP.
So bringing something that wasn't intended to be IP, bringing IP into it just in the name of being IP?
Yes. And to their point, it's not a ride. It's an attraction.
Right.
There is nothing that you ride on in that anywhere.
Right.
And I really take issue with the fact that they're dogging on it like that when it was something that Walt had his hand in initially. I mean, that's the birthplace of animatronics for the Disney company. So how dare you?
If we don't run out of time, that may be another unpopular opinion that's going to ruffle your feathers. Speaking of, okay, so yeah, I agree. I think that's an unpopular opinion. I think they just tried. Like, I don't mind using IP in the parks. You and I kind of disagree on that. Like, I don't mind but where I don't like them using IP is trying to shove it into places where something else already exists.
I don't mind them using IP in the parks. If it wasn't for the IP in the parks, there would be no parks.
Right. And Walt used IP in the parks.
He did. I do have a problem just putting it in where it doesn't belong.
Right.
Maelstrom. Yes.
But there's examples of them doing that well.
Ratatouille is a perfect example of that.
Well, I even think refitting old rides. Look at the Three Caballeros.
Yes.
That used to just be a ride through Mexico.
Yes.
It didn't have the Three Caballeros. That IP
Correct.
was added later.
Yes.
So they can do it.
And they can do it well.
Right. But again, like to your point with Maelstrom, it's shoving IP into someplace it doesn't belong in that it's not true to that country's origin in Epcot.
Well, and it's such a thinly veiled push of IP.
Right.
Same attraction track, same attraction vehicles. Everything is the same, except now you've got freaky faced animatronic figures that may or may not work. Bellering.
Right.
No.
And I think the same thing holds true with the Tiki Room, is that shoving IP into something like that just didn't fit the area either.
Well, it did because it was Adventureland, and Zazu and Iago are tropical birds. So it fit, but it wasn't done properly.
Right. Yeah, agreed. Okay, so the next unpopular opinion. We'll just decide how many of these we want to go through, and when we're ready to be done, we'll be done, okay?
Okay.
So from user Moon Bunny Chan.
Love it.
Love it. Disney has been focusing too much on roller coasters recently.
I understand the opinion, but I also understand why that focus is what it is.
Tell me more.
Okay, so Disney is not known for thrill rides.
Right.
They're trying to take the small advantage, perhaps, that the other theme park company in Orlando has by beefing up some of those thrill rides and making them more popular.
Right. As long as they're themed well, I don't mind the roller coasters.
Mm-hmm.
If they start throwing in roller coasters without the theming and the storytelling, that's when I'm going to take issue.
From beginning to end. Like
Right.
from the queue
Right.
and all of the area around, all the way to the end.
Right.
100%.
Yeah. I think that's going to be my line, because that's the one thing I have against Universal. And we haven't seen the new parks.
Epic Universe.
We haven't seen much about those.
Mm-hmm.
But the knock against their parks was always the rides were great. Even the ride story was great, but the rest just felt like Florida versus a comprehensive story throughout an entire land or whatever. So I think that's one of those things where if Universal starts getting better at their storytelling, it's going to mean Disney has to keep up with their storytelling and building the roller coasters and doing what made Disney great in the first place, which is the slow-moving dark rides, which is the family-friendly.
Yeah.
All of those kind of things will continue to be what sets Disney apart if they don't try and compete too much.
And from the little bit that I have seen from Epic Universe, they're there. Because I've seen like somebody going into the Super Mario World part of that park, and it looks like you're walking into a freaking video game.
Right.
So they're there. So I understand Disney's focus on the thrill ride piece.
Right. Yeah, agreed. I don't think this is a hot take, or it's not an unpopular opinion, but we're going to do this one anyway. From user Yo Scotty Joe, Hall of Presidents needs to go. Politics is way too divisive now. Majority of Americans aren't really patriotic anymore. This ruins the whole point of going on rides and going to the park, which is escapism. Do you think that's an unpopular opinion?
No. No, I don't. I think I don't have a lot of use for the Hall of Presidents.
Right.
Hey, here's a reimagination idea, and we're going to TM this right up front. They can get rid of the Hall of Presidents show, and they can put in great moments in American history as a full stage production.
We can't TM that because that was one of the ideas in the comment thread.
Yeah, but we said it.
We put it out in verbally.
Yes.
It's now our idea.
Yes, TM.
TM. This is how billionaires become billionaires, stealing other people's ideas.
Well, I don't want to do that. But I like it. And if you want to be a salute to American history and the discussion about the American presidency or whatever you want to call it, fine. Just do it with the Muppets.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so here's one that I think might ruffle your feathers a little bit. This one is long, so bear with me for just a second.
Okay.
From user Chef Graybeard. My unpopular opinion about Disney parks is that us guests and our nostalgia are the biggest problem Disney faces year to year. As fans of Disney, we need to embrace what Walt said about the parks never being finished and be more open than changes so they can come faster without them having to spend months talking down fans after every announcement. Most recently, as a Californian who frequents Disneyland Resort, I've spent years listening to every Disney fan I know tell me about how disappointing Avengers Campus is because it's themed enough and because it isn't themed enough and it just looks like disjointed buildings. The theming they were going for it was Avengers Campus in the movies. That's what it looks like. It is blended perfectly into the surrounding areas. Now they have announced Avatar replacing Monsters, Inc., which is a ride I have literally never heard listed in anyone's top 10 at Disneyland Resort. The concept art is themed to the max, and everyone has suddenly flipped the script to how is this going to fit into the surrounding areas, and what does Avatar have to do with California? If we as adult fans don't make room for the future Disney, we'll lose the next generation of park goers to Universal because baby boomers couldn't let go of the storybooks to make room for a Rapunzel ride. No. Baby boomers couldn't let go of the storybook boats to make room for a Rapunzel ride.
I don't necessarily disagree with that opinion at all. I think there is an important part in Disney's. Okay, so Disney hits us in the feels, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it takes us back to when we were kids, watching the movies, watching the cartoons, all of these things. So part of that is part of the story. And it's our story, right? Disney tells stories. So you've got to have some of that. But I think the biggest thing with Disney redoing some of these things and making all of these changes is, in my opinion, they need to be more mindful when they're doing them.
Right.
Like, it needs to make sense.
Right. Yeah. Make all the changes you want. Maybe they need to do a better job of storytelling on the front end.
Yeah. But
here's how it fits.
Yeah, but look what they did with Epcot so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, when all of those walls were up and everything, and then look how they unveiled Celebration Gardens and the area with Walt and all of those. I think that's fabulous.
Yep.
And yes, I was salty when they took out the Fountain of Nations. I was beyond salty. But now, I love it.
Yep.
Because I think it was done appropriately.
Right. Next, from user beginning nobody 4812. I wish they would stop the Halloween and Christmas parties at Magic Kingdom, or at least limit them to twice per week. Last October, there were more nights with Halloween parties than nights without. I have to read you the only reply to that one so far. You mean in the weeks leading up to the two most popular holidays, they celebrate said holidays? I'm shooketh.
That would kind of be my point to that opinion
Right.
as well.
Again, what you said earlier, Disney is there to make money.
Yep.
They can sell full-day park tickets, and then on top of that, get people to pay for party tickets.
Which are just as much as a day pass, if
Right.
not more so.
Right, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. Okay, next one. You and I probably agree with this, but we'll have to see if we think it's truly an unpopular opinion. Rope dropping is dumb, and I hate it. I'm not waking up earlier on vacation than I do for a work day. Let me mosey about, get my breakfast, digest a little, and then maybe head to the park, dang it, from pocket cramps. So you and I agree with that 100%.
Yes.
Rope dropping is the dumbest thing ever.
Yep.
And I think the reason I think rope dropping is the dumbest thing ever is it says the only way you can get your value in Disney is to go do as many rides or attractions as possible.
Which is 100% not true.
That, to me, is what's ruining Disney.
Mm-hmm.
Is the people that I have to do everything to get my value.
Mm-hmm.
But I also understand some of that because those folks that are only there once every 10 years,
Yeah.
they don't necessarily have the option not to do everything because they're like, we're only going to be here once with our kids that are 10 years old.
Right, and we may never see some of this stuff ever again.
Right. So we got to do it and make all the memories.
And
But still.
I get that, but there's also the stress of all of that. Like, that's not a vacation.
Mm-mm.
If you are worried about getting up and out of bed at butt scratch in the morning so that you can be in line to get into a park an hour before it actually opens, no.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, let me find one more for us that I think is truly... Ooh. We're going to end on this one.
Okay.
Magic Kingdom in Orlando is an awful experience from start to finish because they just let too many people in.
Did they write this between Christmas and New Year's?
Grizzled Wanderer did not. They wrote it 4 hours ago.
Oh, all right.
But here's the thing. I think that probably is an unpopular opinion just because Magic Kingdom is so beloved.
Yeah.
But here's why I'm going to defend. If you had the choice to do Magic Kingdom during the day, like on a normal park day, not a busy day, just a normal park day,
Mm-hmm.
or you had the opportunity to go to Magic Kingdom as part of a special ticketed extra after hours event, which would you choose?
After hours without question.
Why?
Fewer people, nighttime is more magical in the parks, and free snacks.
Right. And if they took away the free snacks, I would still choose the after hours event because so many less people.
100% agree.
That was it. Yeah. Okay. That feels like a good one to stop on.
I agree.
Do you think those were really unpopular opinions?
I don't necessarily think they were unpopular opinions. I think it was bold to profess the opinions, maybe.
Okay.
But I don't think they were unpopular. I think a
Okay.
lot of people are feeling exactly those things. There were some wrong ones on there, but an opinion is an opinion. That's fine. But yeah.
Yeah. You calling someone's opinion wrong probably tells us that it was an unpopular opinion.
Probably.
Or you have the unpopular opinion.
Which is very possible and probable.
Yeah. Folks, let us know. Which do you think it was? Do you think our opinions were wrong, or do you think everybody else is wrong?
Or what's your opinion?
Yeah, let us know. Come out to Instagram or Facebook. Let us know. What's your most unpopular opinion from the Disney parks?
Mm-hmm.
Get the conversation started with us out on social media. Anything else, Candice?
Nope, I think that's all we have.
Okay, thanks everybody as always for listening. We appreciate you more than you know. We love doing this, and you listening just makes us want to keep doing it more and continue to find fun things to talk about. So yeah, we love you. Thank you for being a part of the Hangar Bar family. And remember, there is always a great, big, beautiful tomorrow.
And we'll see you real soon.